If you've been thinking about blowing it all up and starting something completely new, I invite you to take a pause just for a second. Because what if the answer isn't a complete overhaul, a reinvention, but more a realignment? Because if you've put years into a particular path, an offer, a business, using your gifts to do good for others in a way that you've once felt so called to, but now you're facing a season of resistance, of friction. I think it's so important that you don't rush to destroy it. What if that friction that you are experiencing, the setbacks that you're experiencing, isn't necessarily that you're doing something wrong or that you're on the wrong path, but it just means that you've drifted out of alignment, that there's maybe just some perspectives or some areas that you need to revisit and just look at from a different place, a different angle. This is a theme that's been showing up for myself within my client sessions, within my friend circles. A lot of businesses have been facing all kinds of challenges lately. And so I think it's so important that we have this conversation together. And I can't wait to dive into it with you. But before we do, my name is Oliver Manalesa, and for the past 13 years, I've been a guide for high achievers, helping them end the war within and unlock peaceful prosperity in their lives and in their businesses. If you are seeking a sacred container to be able to slow down, untangle the mess, and reconnect with yourself and what matters, please use the link below to schedule a guidance session with me. This is 90 minutes of me holding space for you to connect with what is true for you. So my friend, just, the past number of months, he got into this new business, and it's in the more innovative space that we are seeing the rise of, which is AI. And I think AI is an incredible tool, and there's a lot to be excited about. There's actually a lot to be afraid about as well. If you haven't had a chance to catch my YouTube conversation, my YouTube interview and conversation with I Am Coach Colin, I'll make sure there's a link to that below. But we talk about how humanity and our connection with God and how AI comes into play with all this. It's such a huge conversation. But anyways, let's get back into today's video. But yeah, a friend of mine, he got into this new business, and there's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to learn, and it's definitely a big opportunity. And I think we can all get sucked into, can all get mesmerized by the shiny object of just like, whoa, I could potentially make money in this. Other people are making money in this. Oh, this is cutting edge. I got to get ahead of the curve. And I think in some ways that could be true, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's meant to be your path. Because my friend, he's invested so many years, so much time, so much energy, and thousands of dollars of pouring into this particular space of helping people that he really resonates with as a dad. The struggles that they face when it comes to energy and health and mindset and investing and money for this particular group of people. He's had meetups and gatherings and courses and sessions and clients and programs. And this opportunity with AI was so good and it was so exciting, but eventually he starts to feel the nudge, right? And he starts to see the signs that maybe this isn't authentic. Maybe this isn't the way that I need to present myself, because there's so many aspects, feedback loops screaming back at him. And I think it's so valuable that when we are trying something new, we need to immediately get a feedback loop so we can get a sense of, is this taking me to where I want to go? And for my good friend, what he was starting to experience was, there's a level of authenticity in the playfulness and the curiosity and just his humor. It just wasn't able to shine through in this business, in this partnership, and in this path. And eventually it got to the point where it was so loud for him. He finally listened to that nudge, and he had some uncomfortable conversations, and he got support, reflected on it, got guidance. He got other people's feedback to make sure that this was the right decision. He finally went for it. And it's so amazing. So quickly, I could tell from just catching up about this, and he's reporting this lighter, he's clearer, he's re-energized. You can just hear it in his voice. And what's so cool is that just a few days ago, he sends a text message and he's like, hey, I just got a paid coaching client. Another, so, and I think that's so funny, right? Because God works in these very mysterious ways. But for me, I believe that God rewards our decisiveness. When we honor what's true, he starts giving us, signs, affirmations to be like, yes, this is where you're supposed to be right now. It might not be easy. It might be challenging, but this is where you're supposed to be. So look, if you're a creative, if you're an entrepreneur, you're here to provide healing and transformation in the world, but you're facing a level of difficulty and friction, like me and my business, I've been experiencing. There's so much happening. There's AI, there's crypto, there's even looking for another job potentially, or even starting a whole new business, a whole new offer. When things are difficult, it seems like that might be an easier path. Or there's other paths that might seem sexier and faster. But look, if it's not rooted in meaning, I just don't believe it'll last, especially if you're the particular type of person who's watching this video. Meaning has to come before money. Because I remember in my first business, when it started to become mainly just about money, it lost its soul. It took my soul with it. And so otherwise, I think it's just so important that we realize that when we are going through these phases, these difficulties, so much of it is just being able to take a step back and just take another look, right? And is it I'm in the wrong place, or is it there's something that I'm doing that just needs adjusting? Right? Maybe it means that there's a level of alignment that's actually missing. This might not actually be that you've hit a dead end with the work that you're doing. It actually just means it's a little bit of a detour. Yeah, sure, it's not fun. Like when you're not making the sales, when you're not getting the results that you need, to get a sense of forward progression, or sometimes even to just, put food on the table, it can get really difficult. And of course, you have to take care of your obligations. You got to take care of your family. And so sometimes it might mean that you're supplementing your income doing something else, but that doesn't mean that you completely have detracted, or doesn't mean that thing that you have paused or have taken a little bit of a step back from is wrong. It just might mean that this is just the path that God has laid out for you. There's something that you are going to gain by making important decisions like this. Like for me, I've spent 13 years, working, for the majority of that one-on-one with high-paying clients over year-long programs, and very recently in the last couple of years, working with groups. And then more recently, a lot of the business owners that I'm working with, how many times I've heard, Oliver, I'd love to. I know I need this support. I know I can benefit from the support, but my business, my finances are just not in the position to, for this work. And so with a little bit of a step back, I could think, oh my gosh, this is not working. It's been, X amount of time and I'm not getting these results. I'm not hitting my numbers. I'm not hitting my targets. Maybe I gotta go on LinkedIn and find a job. I gotta start a new business. But all those things feel like starting, getting a train that's at a dead stop, trying to get that moving. When I have all this energy, all this potential, all of this invested into this particular way of unlocking people's potential. And so what I've realized is that's part of the reason why I'm like, maybe I need to reimagine who I'm meant to serve and how I'm meant to serve them. Maybe there's something about my messaging or my model that needs to be updated just a little bit. Even though it's worked in the past, I can't keep clinging to the past. I got to look at things with fresh eyes. Then that's part of the reason why I'm offering guidance sessions. Because working with me at a one-on-one or a group level, it's such a larger commitment financially and with time. Whereas, a lot of people that I connect with need the help now. They need the support now. So the guidance session, it's 60 to 90 minutes together where we can focus on a particular set of issues that you're going through and help you get back to a place of aligned with what matters, aligned with the direction that you want to be headed in. And then, of course, if a consistent a level of support is needed, then we can talk about that. But that's not the purpose of the guidance session. And so there's little tiny tweaks, tiny little adjustments that I think we just need to make. So I think it's so important that we realize that when we hit a roadblock, it doesn't mean we got to blow everything up. It doesn't mean that we have to completely start a whole new direction, completely start a whole new project. So, a lot of times the opportunity that's right in front of us is the thing that we need to take hold of, that we need to manifest and bring it to reality. We need to realize that there's an under leveraged resource or asset that we've already built. Completely starting a new one, I feel like, should be in the extreme rare cases. So I think it's so important that we realize that it's not, pivoting within the particular direction that you're already in versus pivoting in a completely different direction might be what you actually need. And before you do this, it's so important that you do take a pause, that you do take a step back. Because you got to ask, is my fire actually gone? Or is it really just covered up in some of the ash of what it used to be? And maybe I can actually reemerge. I can emerge from the ashes, with a new energy. Because we have to ask ourselves, this work that I've been doing, does it still matter deeply to me? Do I still feel like God wants my gifts to be pointed at these people, that these people can benefit the most out of it? And we got to ask ourselves, is there a version of this work, of this path, of this business that is more appropriate to where I'm at and where everybody else is at in this particular season and time, this particular time? So look, if you are feeling a tension, if you're feeling a push and pull between, do I quit? Do I hit the pause button? Do I start something new? Or do I recommit? Do I double down? Please, let's talk. You do not have to do this alone. You can read my book, The Daily Prosperity Method, digital book, audiobook bundles. It can offer you a lot of clarity, a lot of guidance. My guidance sessions, we can sit together one-on-one and spend 90 minutes in your particular situation so that you can untangle some of the mess and reconnect with what you need to do next. Or if it's within your relationship, you want to attend our Harmonious Relationship webinar. It's completely free. It's 2 hours with me and my incredible wife, Janet. I'll make sure that there's a link below so you can see what dates are available. But my friend, you don't have to keep doing this, behind closed doors and carrying it all on your heart and on your shoulders. It's so important that I think that you allow yourself to be seen. You allow yourself to be in particular containers where you can unpack and you can process some of these things and look at them from a completely fresh perspective. So my friend, I'm so grateful to be in this conversation with you. If you find these videos valuable, please hit like, please subscribe, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Until then, be well.